So, what if I told you that studying more doesn't always mean scoring more? I know, it sounds crazy, but today we're going to break down 5 powerful strategies that top students use to study smarter, not harder. Let's get you ready to walk into your exams with some serious confidence, not that last-minute panic we all know so well.
All right, let's start with the story. Meet Rohan and Aman. They're best friends in the same class with the same teachers. And, well, they spent most of the year sharing memes and watching movies instead of hitting the books. When exams were suddenly around the corner, Rohan did what most of us do. He panicked. He locked himself in his room for these marathon 12-hour cram sessions. Aman, though, he studied way less, but he was calm, he was focused. And the result? To everyone's surprise, Aman scored way higher.
So, how on earth did he do it? Was it some kind of magic? Nope, not at all. Aman just followed 5 super powerful principles that completely changed the game for him. And right now, we're going to break down every single one for you.
Okay, first up, and you know this is probably the most important one, winning the mind game. Your biggest challenge isn't actually the syllabus, it's what's going on inside your own head. The real exam, it starts long before you even pick up a pen.
This right here, this is the key. During exams, most students don't fail because they haven't studied enough. They fail because, as the quote says, their own mind starts working against them. It just gets flooded with fear and regret, and that is the exact trap that Rohan fell right into.
This visual just captures Rohan's problem perfectly. I mean, his body was sitting at his desk, sure, but his mind was being torn in 2 completely different directions. He was either stuck regretting the past, thinking, gosh, I'd started earlier, or he was terrified of the future, worrying, what if I fail? When your mind is split like that, real, deep focus is just impossible.
Aman, on the other hand, he made this incredibly powerful mental shift. He just accepted it. The past was gone, he couldn't change it. And the final result, that was out of his hands. The only thing he could actually control was his effort, right here, right now. So he stopped worrying about the outcome and focused entirely on the process. What did he need to learn and revise today? That's it.
All right, principle number 2. And this one flips a common belief right on its head. Study less, score more. So many students, just like Rohan, treat the syllabus like it's a novel they have to read from cover to cover. But an exam isn't a test of how much you've read. It's a test of how well you understand the stuff that really matters.
You see, Aman saw exams for what they are, a probability game. He used the 80-20 rule. And this basically says that roughly 80% of the questions on your exam will come from just 20 to 30% of the syllabus. I mean, think about that. Instead of trying to master 10 chapters equally, a smart player finds the 2 or 3 most important chapters and just masters them first.
So how did he actually do this? It was pretty simple, really. First, he spent a little time analyzing the previous year's papers. Second, he identified those high-priority recurring topics, the ones that always seem to show up. And third, he just focused on mastering those key areas first. This whole approach just melted away the pressure and gave his preparation a clear, focused direction instead of just panic. Okay, our third principle tackles a massive problem we all face: information overload. The solution is so simple: stick to one source. Because even if you know what's important, you're still going to struggle if you're drowning in a sea of notes and videos. It's all about clarity, not quantity.
Just imagine Rohan trying to learn a physics concept. He's got his school notes, his coaching notes, and he's watching a bunch of different YouTube videos. And of course, every single source explains it just a little bit differently. So what happens during the exam? Total mental chaos. He can't remember which version is the right one.
This Bruce Lee quote just captures Aman's strategy perfectly. He made a really strong decision to follow just one trusted source for each subject. He totally understood that reading from a dozen different sources isn't being smart, it's just a distraction. He picked one source and revised it again and again and again, until the answers just flowed without a second thought.
And now for our 4th tip, and let me tell you, this is the real secret weapon in Aidamen's success. This is all about the huge difference between passively recognizing a topic and truly being able to recall it when you're under pressure.
So let me ask you, how do you know when you've truly learned something? Most of us, we read a chapter, we close the book, and we think, yeah, I got it. But that feeling, it's often just recognition. It's not real recall.
This is where retention becomes so critical. You don't get marks for just understanding a topic in the comfort of your room. You get marks for retaining it, for being able to recall and explain it clearly when it actually counts, in that exam hall.
So how do you build that kind of retention? A man used a really simple but super powerful method, the teacher test. After studying a topic, he'd close the book and try to explain the concept out loud, as if he were teaching it to a small child. The exact moment he'd get stuck or fumble for words, boom, he'd found his knowledge gap. It's an unbelievably effective way to find your real weak points.
And that brings us to our final principle, controlling your environment. Look, you can have the best study plan in the entire world, but a chaotic environment during exam time can completely derail all of your hard work.
So, what are the biggest dangers to look out for? First, those anxious friends discussing which topics are definitely going to be on the paper right before an exam. That just creates panic. Second, analyzing the paper right after you're done, which only builds stress for the next one. And of course, the constant distractions at home. All of these things are just focus killers.
Ammon didn't try to fight his environment, he just managed it. He set a very clear rule with his friends. No discussing the paper, period. Not before, not after. And at home, he sat down with his family, explained his schedule, and just politely asked for their support in creating a quiet study space for a few days. Communication was his secret weapon here.
So, to bring this all together, this slide just captures the two paths perfectly. Rohan's path was hard work, yeah, but it was fueled by panic and motivation, which just led to chaos. Amon's path was smart work, built on a foundation of discipline, better systems, and a real strategy. At the end of the day, exams aren't just a test of your knowledge, they're a test of your discipline and your systems.
By managing your mindset, focusing on what truly matters, mastering one single source, actively testing your attention, and controlling your environment, you can absolutely transform your preparation. So the only question left is, which path are you going to choose?